If you're upgrading your instrument or buying an instrument for the first time, this will be a great video to check out to get some tips on how to purchase a clarinet. If you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel and check out the description for some links to like our Facebook page and officially join the QuickStart Clarinet Community. So, you're ready to buy an instrument, maybe you're buying for the first time or you're upgrading to a little bit better instrument. There's a few things that you should know before you buy an instrument. Of course, buying an instrument is a pretty big investment, so you definitely want to be well educated about the purchase before you decide on which instrument you're going to get. So the first thing to look at is the different levels of instruments. So they're sort of grouped into three different levels: student models or beginner models, intermediate, and then advanced or professional models. So depending on where you are in your playing, you'll probably be looking at one of those because they each come at a different price point. I would say beginner instruments you can find for some as low as around $100, which we'll talk about later, but a good beginning instrument will probably be around $600 to $1,000, maybe even $1,200 depending on the brand. Intermediate instruments are a sort of an in-between, and they'll usually run starting around $1,000, maybe up to $2,000, and then advanced instruments or professional instruments will usually be $2,000 all the way up to $12,000. What each of these means is important mostly because of the price and the quality, of course. So student instruments are usually made out of plastic. They're usually fine instruments depending on the brand, but they don't have quite the same like complexities of the sound and like warmness, and sometimes the key action is a little bit uncomfortable or hard. The intermediate models are sort of very much an in-between of professional and beginner, with them being a little bit smoother with the key work, a little bit better quality of material. Most intermediate instruments will start being made with wood rather than plastic, and then they're really just in between in all regards. Now the advanced or professional models, the biggest difference is again the material. They're still made out of wood like the intermediate clarinets, but they're made out of much better wood. For Buffet, that's one of the biggest clarinet making companies. Basically what they do is the wood that's not good enough to be made into a professional clarinet gets made into an intermediate clarinet, but they're roughly the same. It's just not quite as good of quality of material. The other big thing with the professional instruments is the key work. Sometimes they'll have some extra keys, like the left hand E flat pinky key, that makes playing some things easier. They'll also have smoother key work, and sound quieter when you're pressing different keys and things like that are really great for a professional setting. So that's sort of the three different categories of clarinets: student, intermediate, professional, or beginner, intermediate, advanced. They all come at different price points, and they also have different possibilities, with a professional clarinet allowing for the most differences in tone color and the widest dynamic ranges, and student clarinets being a little bit more narrow. The next thing to consider when you're buying a clarinet is if you want to go name brand or off brand. So a lot of different companies have made clarinets for many years, and some of them have become much more popular than others, with Buffet probably being the top clarinet brand, but also Selmer and Yamaha are other companies that are really rising and making great clarinets. The off-brand options, there's Meinl is a very popular one, and they'll often advertise like an intermediate clarinet, but it's at like a student clarinet price of a name brand instrument. So this is a really tricky situation where you have to decide what you're going for. The intermediate off-brand instruments that are student level price probably are more like student level instruments and come across that way, but they'll have some features of like the intermediate clarinets. So maybe it'll be made out of wood for $800 and have like nice key work and everything, but maybe that wood isn't quite as high quality as wood of intermediate instruments of the name brands. So by the end of the day, you're getting a wooden instrument, but really the sound quality and everything is similar to a plastic instrument of a name brand and things like that. I definitely think off-brand instruments can be a good deal. They're really hit or miss, and that's the other thing that makes them off-brand versus name brand is they don't have the consistent quality. So maybe one off-brand instrument is way better than the instrument of the same price by a name brand company, but it's you don't ever know if you're going to get that one. I do, however, sometimes recommend the Mino clarinet. I've had students try that, the very beginning one. It's very, very affordable, I think under $100. So if you just want a super cheap clarinet that works pretty well, that's not a bad option. But if you're going to be playing with other people in a band, if you're going to be playing long term and want to advance, I would definitely recommend probably a Yamaha beginning clarinet. Or an intermediate or advanced model, of which there are tons and tons and tons of options. So at the end of the day, there's plenty of options to choose from, and it's really up to you to decide what you're going for, student, intermediate, or professional, name brand, or off brand. But the absolute best thing that you can do when you're buying a clarinet is to try some. So I would recommend going to a local music store if you have one and just asking them to try as many clarinets as you can. Or if you don't have one in your local area, munciewinds.com is a great place. They'll ship you 3 clarinets at a time where you can trial them and then send 2 back and just pay for the one. Or you can send all 3 back and try more. They have a great return policy. There's only a super, super small cleaning fee for trying them. And other than that, it's all totally free. The other thing to think about is actually your mouthpiece. If you're thinking about upgrading clarinets, it's super important that you look at your mouthpiece first, because oftentimes upgrading your mouthpiece can be way cheaper and way more beneficial. So if your mouthpiece is under the $100 range, then you might want to consider trying a new mouthpiece. Van Doren makes great ones. I think some of the Van Doren mouthpieces are around $80 when they're on sale. So that's a great option. And again, going into a music store or getting some trials from Muncie Winds is a great option for trying mouthpieces to find something that you like. So that's sort of the basic guide. You have to know what kind of instrument you're looking for, make sure that you have a good mouthpiece, and then go try some clarinets and see what you like. Happy practicing and happy shopping. For more clarinet tips and tricks, be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.